Welcome back, everybody. This is Retro Replay with a retro review of the game Kwirk for the Nintendo Game Boy. Kwirk, also known in Japan as Puzzle Boy, is, well, a puzzle game developed and published by Atlas in Japan in late 1989 and was later published in North America in March of 1990 by Acclaim Entertainment. This is another game that I had as a kid that I absolutely loved. Even though it can be extremely difficult, especially as you get later in the game, which I'll be able to show here in a little bit. But it is a very fun puzzle game. It's very challenging. It can really rack your brain trying to figure out some of these puzzles as you get through the game. There's 3 game modes in Kwirk. This first one that we're going through right now is called Going Up, and it's basically a series of levels. There's 10 levels in each difficulty, and right now we're going through the easy difficulty. And you can see going through some of these, it may take me a moment to look at them and figure out what I'm supposed to do, but in general, they can be finished in less than 20 seconds or so. This first set of 10 levels, the easy mode, is pretty straightforward, I would say, for most people to be able to get through. Once we get into what's called the average levels, which is the next set of 10, the difficulty starts increasing a lot. And I get stuck on quite a few of these. I don't make it through all 10 in the average level, and I didn't even progress into the hard difficulty because the game gets very difficult. You can see here in this level that I do have one of Kwirk's vegetable friends here to help, and basically all you have to do is try to solve the puzzle with both of the characters, and you can switch in between them by using the select button, and you can use them to help each character solve the puzzle. And this happens periodically through the game where just on some levels you will have 2 characters to use instead of just Kwirk. And I do have a small confession to make. I did have to edit this video to cut out the multiple failed tries that I had on some of these stages. On this one, it did take me several tries to figure this out. And it's really easy. You can actually go into a menu and go back a step. You can keep going back steps if you make a mistake, or you can just restart the stage really quickly. And that's what I had to do several times here to make my way through this finally. But as you can see, even on this successful attempt that I'm having here, it took me a lot of tries of just moving these blocks around, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, but I do eventually get it. You can probably hear the gears spinning in my brain right now, trying to sort this out. It's kind of embarrassing, but it is challenging getting through some of these levels. They really do make you have to think, especially as you get further into the game. It's starting to come together here for me. I'm thinking very hard trying to get through this, but it's all starting to make sense here in just a moment. Ding, ding, ding! I think he figured it out, finally! Some of these levels where you have to push the blocks around, they become really counterintuitive because you have to push the blocks in the opposite direction often. from where you're trying to get to, just to get them out of the way so that you can then move other blocks. It does get very challenging, especially in some of these later levels where you have to move these blocks to fill holes, and you really only need to fill some of the holes, and you have to figure out which ones you need to fill to be able to move other blocks into the same areas and to plug other holes. It gets very challenging. And here we are getting into stage 10 of the easy levels, and again, I have one of my vegetable friends here with me to help me out, but this one isn't too difficult. I say it's not too difficult, but I did have to think through this a little bit. It does throw an extra little twist of challenge when you have to teamwork with another character on the screen to try to figure out how to get both of them to the end. But I do eventually figure it out here. So that's it for the easy levels, and we get a little cutscene here where Kwirk gets to meet up with his girlfriend Tammy again, and they get to celebrate. But now we are getting into level 2, the average levels, and this is where the difficulty starts increasing drastically. This level 1, or stage 1 of the average levels, this does take me a little bit to sort out also. I have to think through this a little bit and try to get it sorted out, but it does work out for me eventually. I had to edit out my first try where I was trying to get through it. Again, you can probably hear the gears in my brain grinding to a halt here. Ta-da! I did it. Now, this level just about broke me. This took me around 40 minutes to finally solve, which you'll thank me that I cut that out of this video. This is just the successful solution here, but this took me forever to figure out. And this is where I started to get discouraged and wanted to move on from this game. It just gets very challenging after this point. You can see me trying to think through this here. I've got to get one more block down there to finish up this walking path, but I do figure it out. I think this is probably where I started to give up when I had this as a kid also. You know, back then, in 1990, there was no internet and no walkthroughs to get hints or tips. There were probably maybe Nintendo Powers or something like that where you could get tips, but really there was no help for finding solutions for these games if you got stuck. So I imagine I probably did not make it much farther than this when I was a kid. This is another one. This probably took me 20 to 30 minutes to solve. It was very difficult getting through this one. And I do have to be honest here. After this level, I did have to start looking at some walkthrough videos on other YouTube channels to get these figured out. I could not figure this stuff out on my own. Maybe if I had more time to sit down and work on these for hours, I could get them sorted out, but it became pretty tedious after a while and I needed some help. So I did have to view some other videos to get some help, especially starting on the next level. I think this is probably going to be the last level that I show in this review, at least from the storyline playthrough of this. They continue to get more challenging, and I struggle more and more with them. And I eventually gave up. Maybe after the next level, I moved on to the next game type, which I'll give a small review of here shortly. But you can see the challenge here. You have to move blocks from other areas of the level to other sections of the level to be able to move those blocks into other sections of the level to be able to get to the block you need to fill the gap to get to the stairway at the end. For my 10-year-old self, this was just too much. I mean, it's too much now as an adult. These are very difficult to try to get through. You can kind of start sorting this out here, that the goal of this stage is to get that horizontal two-piece block that's up in the top left corner of the screen down to fill the gap in the stairwell. I definitely needed help with this one, and there are some great walkthrough videos on YouTube. There's videos of people doing speed runs of this game where they finish the whole game in like 12 minutes. It's amazing, but they obviously have everything memorized. They know exactly what to do. If you don't know what you're doing, these are nearing impossible. I mean, they are very difficult, and I needed a lot of help as these started getting more and more difficult. I do just want to show the next game type. It's called Heading Out. The way this game type works is you basically have to get through however many rooms you choose. I set it to 10. You can choose 10, 20, 30, 40. There's 99 rooms per difficulty that you can try to set this to get through. And basically the goal is to get through the 10 rooms or however many rooms you decide as fast as you can. There is a third game type in Kwirk called Versus Mode. It's a typical Versus Mode on Game Boy where you're playing against another person, and the game mode is for this. It's for this heading out game type where you basically are competing against each other to finish these levels as fast as you can with the highest score. I didn't have another person to play with, so I couldn't show that at that time. I'm honestly not sure if it uses the link cable. I'm thinking it does. It looks like the box art on the game does show the link cable being used, so I think you can link 2 Game Boys together to play the Versus mode on here to play against each other, which is pretty cool. But while this is playing out here, I'd like to just give some final thoughts on this game, since this is a review. I actually enjoy this game a lot. It is brain-racking for sure. Like I've said countless times in this review, it is a very challenging game and a very challenging puzzle game. So if you like those types of games, it can be very fun. If you like to be mentally challenged, to have to think through something that looks simple on its surface but is not, this is a great game. I do really enjoy it. I wish I was a little better at it, that I could get through these later levels. I guess if I watched some of these walkthroughs that I could get some of these sorted out and memorize them, but memorizing them really isn't the point of this. It's trying to use your brain to get them sorted out. But like I stated earlier, you know, some of these seem like they're impossible to get figured out. But I think if you spend enough time trying to sort through some of these, that you can get through them. The easier levels, like I'm showing here, are very easy. And once you get into those average levels, they really start ramping up. I don't even show the hard levels here. They're just too much. I couldn't get through any of them, so I just kind of let that go and left that out of this review. But all in all, like I said, I had this game as a kid before my Game Boy ended up getting stolen from me. I did have this, and I played it a lot. I probably did not make it very far in the game because it is so challenging, but I did enjoy it when I had it for what it was worth. But that's going to wrap this up here. Thank you for checking out my retro review of Kwirk, the tomato with a green mohawk. This was fun to go back to and play. And I do recommend any of you that are interested to go and check this out. It's a great game. So thank you all for watching. Please remember, if you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel so you can check out my new videos as they come out. And please smash that like button. Thanks again.